Hello and welcome to the last module for state and local government. Got the weekly agenda posted, but I'm just going to talk you through it's not all that overly complicated. You're reviewing these three slideshows. Please review these three slideshows. The content will appear on the final. And what I would pay particular attention to, if this loads, if not, it's going to load. What I would pay particular attention to are these key terms. So county, a major unit of local government, and each of the slideshows have them near the front. I would pay particular attention to those. The whole of the slideshow is important, and all information contained therein is fair game for the final exam, but I'm just saying the key terms. I know the guy that made the final, and I can say for certain that a lot of those are on the test. So after you review these slideshows, there are a couple assignments. I'm making a last-ditch effort to try to get some of your grades up, which is why I've scored these higher than I should have. So budgeting and taxes. All right, not overly complicated. Key concepts. All right, so you can put these definitions in your own words. You can look in textbooks and past class material for how other people have worded it, but I don't think it's, you can put what a balanced budget is in your own words. Revenue, expenditure, these are common terms that you should be able to define. So there's a clear right and wrong answer to this. Explain the difference between mandatory spending and discretionary spending at the state level. That's in your textbook. We've covered that. Definite right and wrong answer to this. This is the application part where you show me what you've learned. So imagine your state has the following projected revenues and expenditures. Revenue 50 billion, expenditures 52. So tell me if it's a surplus or a deficit, and think about two ways the state, say it's Illinois, could use to address this situation. So there's no clear right or wrong answer to this question. Just I'm going to read the answer, and if it makes sense, if it's logical, you'll get points. If your answer on the other hand, is raise taxes on everybody by 200%. That's not something any government's going to do. All right, so a logical strategy. Identify three major sources of revenue for state governments and three major sources of revenue for local governments. This should have become apparent in the last weeks. If not, it's in your textbook. Progressive, regressive, and proportional tax systems. Again, you've read about this. If not, this is very easy for you to look up. Discuss one advantage and one disadvantage of relying heavily on property taxes for local government funding. Well, you can explain that. Critical thinking. Your city is considering raising the sales tax by 1% to fund public transportation improvements. What groups might support it? What groups might oppose it? How could this impact low-income residents? Your answer, no necessarily right or wrong answer, but I'm looking for evidence of thought and evidence of logic. If a state receives a large federal grant for education, how might this affect its budget priorities? Okay. Draft a simple budget proposal for a hypothetical county with $10 million in revenue. And these are the 4 areas in this hypothetical county, and just explain why you allocated X amount of dollars to education, public safety, infrastructure, etc. All right, so not a difficult task, but I found students kind of struggle if there's no right or wrong clear answer that's written out in your textbook. So this is an application exercise, as is this. So you are tasked with creating a simplified budget for the state of Illinois for the upcoming fiscal year. Assume the state has $50 billion in projected revenue. Your goal is to allocate funds across major categories while keeping the budget balanced. All right, revenue sources, identify the revenue sources. This is something you could look up or something you could take a guess at. It doesn't really matter too much to me. And then estimate the percentage each source contributes to the total revenue, and then make your state budget. All right, allocate it. Education, okay, that should all add up to $50 billion. Define the percentage, then justify it. Now, here's the critical thinking question. If revenue drops by 10%, how would you adjust your allocations? So if, I'm not a math teacher, keep in mind, so if your total budget goes down to 45 billion, how would this get changed? How would you change this around? And then if the federal government offers a grant for transportation, how would that change your priorities? All right, again, an application exercise. I'm not asking you to look up anything. It's just I'm asking you to kind of go beyond and think critically about budgeting. And then the last chapter we're going to read in the class textbook is about entitlements, and that's pages 331 to 353. And then you answer these 4 questions. That there's a clear right and wrong answer to. All right, the final exam will open on the 8th and close on the 15th. It's worth 20% of your grade. I am not opening the final early for any reason. None of you are eligible for incompletes. So you have to get the final done between the 8th and the 15th. I will put out more information regarding the final when it gets a little closer to the 8th of December. I would anticipate having 3 hours for the final. I would anticipate there not being essay questions of any kind, so I can get the grading done quickly and get your grades in the books so we can all go on Christmas break. I would anticipate questions on federalism from the beginning of class as well. All right, so that is weeks 15 and 16. Information about the final to come. Have a good couple of weeks. Reach out if you have questions.